All right, so you're going to look at the complaint letter, and by the end of today's lesson, we look at how the question structure is. We look at the letter structure, how to structure the letter itself, and we will look at the how the greeting and sign off is, and also we'll check how to generate our ideas, and also after that we look at some of the sample letters in it. Now, if we look at the question structure for the writing task 1 general, if you look at this letter structure, we said that, can we go on? If you look at the letter structure, we said you given a topic, then they will give you the person you are writing to, and then they will also tell you what you should write about. So we look at a sample question, and then we'll go about on how we are going to write it. So okay, so let's look at the sample question. So this is the sample question given to us. Remember, we are dealing with complaints. So you are writing a letter to complain about something. So the question stated here is that there is a problem with the changing rooms in the sports center that you visit, and you have complained several times but no success. So the first part of the questions, though, it will be about a topic. Now in the second part of it, instead you should write a letter to the manager of the sports center. So that means that you are going to, they will tell you the person you are supposed to write to, and because you are writing to a manager, what type of letter is that? So you are going to write a formal letter. Good. So this is a formal letter. So you are, in your letter, you are asked to do some things, and that is the third part of it. You are given 3 bullet points here. You are supposed to, 1, talk about or describe what problems that you have encountered or you have seen with the changing room, and also you should say what happened the last time you complained. And the third thing is that you also have to address what the manager, you have to explain what the manager is supposed to do, or what you want the manager to do. So these are the 3 things that I want you to do in this sample essay, and we are going to learn how to structure it and how to go about with it. Now, when it comes to the structure, we learned that we have the 6-part structure for these essays. The first thing is that we need to address whoever, so we need to greet whoever we are going to write to. So we address whoever we are going to write to, and then the next thing we need to do is to write the purpose of why we are writing. Okay, so you write the purpose. That is, why am I writing? Okay, you said you want to address to a manager. Dear manager. You can't start writing straightforward and say that I found this particular thing with it. No, you have to hold on and tell the manager why you are writing that letter to him or her. Okay, so dear manager, this is the reason I'm writing this particular letter to you. So you just have to write that. So you have to address that one first. Then when you finish, then you come to the bullet points. You pick it one after the other, then you answer them. Okay, so you write about the first bullet point, second bullet point, and third bullet point, then you sign off. That is all that you have to do, and you have to write not less than 150 words. All right, so are we good to go? Can we go on and start writing now? So the essay, when you are actually using this particular essay to write it, then the structure should look something like this. Dear, and then the manager will come in here. It can be somebody you know or someone you don't know. So dear manager, and then the first paragraph is the purpose. The purpose of this particular letter is that you want to complain about the sports center in the changing room. And the first paragraph is that you want to talk about what happened the last time that you complained, and also you also want to write about what problem is this with the changing room. You want to also talk about what the manager is supposed to do. So these are the 3 things that you'll be dealing with, and that is exactly how you're going to go about it. All right, so now that we know how to structure it, our next thing to do is to know how we are going to start with the greetings. And because we are writing to a manager, we have to note that this is a formal letter. So if it's a formal letter, then there are two ways that we can begin the formal letter. We can state dear sir or madam, or dear manager, or dear sir or madam if we don't know the person. So you can just say dear sir or madam. So we can state dear sir or madam if we don't know the person, the name of the person. But if you know the name of the person, you can just start dear and then you add the surname of the person. All right, so dear and then you add the surname of the person. You can assume any kind of name if you want to write it. Don't worry about it. So maybe you don't want to waste more time, you don't want to assume any name, so you can just go about saying dear sir or madam. But if you can still assume a name and write it. So it's very likely that you will not know the name of the person you are making the complaint to. But if you want to use the same name, just make one up. Okay, you can just make one up and then you start with it. And when you are signing off, all right, in the last part of it, because you don't know the person name, you can use like yours faithfully if you don't know the person name. But if you know the person name, you can use something like yours sincerely. Okay, and that will be all. Okay, so your sample letter, with the sample letter, the greeting and the sign off will look like something like this. So maybe let me say John Sprew. I don't know whoever I'm writing the name. All right, so like this one will look like so this will be your greeting, dear sir or madam. Okay, and this will be a sign off. You can just write yours faithfully, comma, and then you write John Sprew. All right, so you can add any name. Okay, so now that we know what we are supposed to do, what the next thing to do is that we have to generate the ideas. Okay, and generating the ideas, we need to look at the question and then write the answers, the basic answers that we want to write. So in this question, we are told to find out, we should describe the problem with the changing room and what happened the last time you complained, and the explanation that we should explain to the manager what we want the manager to do. So these are the points that are generated. Okay, so as I always state, you don't have to look at what someone has, just have to answer the question accordingly. That's all. All right, so describing the problem that I found in the changing room, I saw that the toilets were dirty. Okay, so the toilets are very dirty, and that is a problem I've been seeing with this sports center changing room. And then what happened the last time I complained was that they promised that the problem will be addressed. Okay, and then what I'm expecting the manager to do is that I want the manager to provide a rota list for the staff, and to check the staff that they have signed every hour, check on them every hour, and then sign it that they have done it properly. Okay, so this is what I want the manager to do, and that is the answers to the question in the bullet point, and that's what you should be doing. So for every kind of question, you have to get an answer, and this is not the only answers you can get. There are a lot of answers you can get. For instance, if you say that you should describe the problem, maybe you saw the changing room lights were off, and the last time that you complained, they told you that they are going to fix all of them, and still now it has not been done. And what you want the manager to do is that you want the manager to make sure that the lights in the washroom or the changing room is fixed, and that maybe in a specific time. Okay, fixed in a specific time. Okay, so this can be answered. So there are several answers you can give. There is no one answer to this. All right, so now that we know what we want, our planning is now complete, and that's what we need to do is that we have to spend some time to elaborate or to talk about it, to explain it properly, making sure that our grammar vocabularies are all working properly. Okay, so you have to be practicing. All right, just practice, get more questions, and you have to be doing some practicing on this one, get some points and be practicing on this. I believe you'll be able to get a very quick and easier way to answer these ones. All right, so let's add the answers to it and see how the whole structure of our essay will be. All right, okay, so we said that in our greeting we just have to add the manager's name to it. So let me use Miss Badu. Okay, so the same Miss Badu was the manager in this particular sports center. So Miss Badu was the one with the manager in the sports center, and the purpose of our writing, which will be our first paragraph, will be to complain about the sports center changing room. And this time, in our second body paragraph, where we are going to describe the problem with the changing room, we said that the so we will just put our answers in the structure to get a full view of how we are going to write the whole essay. So we said that in the first part of the letter will be our greeting. So this manager here, I'll just change it to Miss Badu, who will be the manager for this particular sports center. So to dear Miss Badu, okay, and the first paragraph or the first sentence will be the purpose for writing. So I just have to write the purpose, which is to complain about the sports center in the changing room. And then the second paragraph will be to describe the problem with the changing room. And we said that what we saw about that changing room is that the toilets were dirty. So the toilets are dirty. And then the next bullet point was that we have to talk about what happened the last time we complained. And that was that what we saw was that they actually promised that the problem will be addressed. And finally, we have to explain to the manager what we want him to do. So we expect the manager to give rota to the staff and to check on them every hour and sign. Okay, so this would be some of the things that this is how you just have to plan. So this is just a planning process, and that's how you're going to go about with it. And after this, you just have to start writing. We already know our salutation, right? We know our salutation. We know this one is a formal letter, so we are going to address it to Miss Badu. All right, so dear Badu, and we go on straight forward to the first paragraph. Please, are you following? Okay, so after salutation, the next thing we have to do is to write the paragraph 1. All right, write down our paragraph 1. We write down our paragraph 1. Okay, so in the first paragraph, we are going to answer the first question. We are going to talk about the purpose for writing this particular letter. First paragraph is to talk about or to complain about the sports center, and we said that and you know, I always tell you that some people choose not to do this, but it's very important. You can't address somebody or write a letter to somebody without telling the person what the purpose of that letter is about. So you need to address that person. You have to just use one sentence for this one. You don't need to reuse a lot of sentences. So let me give you some that you can use to start a complaint letter. Okay, you know, I'm so happy about it, right? So that is one thing you should know. So you can start by saying that maybe I'm very unhappy with, or I'm very unhappy about, you know, or you can say I'm writing to complain about, you know, or maybe I'm extremely dissatisfied with, or I write to express my disappointment. So you are writing something because you are making a complaint. All right, so these are some phrases you can use to start. So let's see, let's write our first sentence for this particular essay. Remember, we said our complaint is about the sports center changing room. All right. So I'm writing to compare the state of the toilet in the sports center changing room. Okay. So this first paragraph is just for you to talk about the purpose. So I'm writing to complain about the state of the toilet in the sport changing room. Now, after writing this one, our next paragraph will be to address the first sentence. So we move on to the next paragraph. We said that in our next paragraph, in the second paragraph, what you're going to write about is that you're going to describe the problem. Okay, we are supposed to describe the problem with the changing room, and that's what you're going to do now. Okay, so we learned that the toilets in the changing room are very dirty, so they are dirty, so that is why we are complaining. All right, so we learned that the toilets are dirty, and that's why we are complaining. You have to note that this is a formal language, it's a formal letter, so you have to keep the language formal. All right, don't use any contrast, use some informal words. Try to keep yourself respectful. Okay, using the word like could, should, okay, instead of can. So you can use would, okay, to keep it formal. All right, so that is what I'm trying to say. So at least about 3 sentences is okay. All right, or let me say at most 3 sentences for it is okay. Can keep between 50 words because you're writing 150 words, so you should note exactly what you need to do. So let's see. Now you're writing about the toilet being dirty. So let's see. Each time I have used the changing facilities in the past month, the toilet area has been dirty. So it's been about 1 month now. Anytime I go to the toilet room, it's dirty. Particularly unpleasant are the soggy paper towels on the floor. Right? They look horrible, and there is a danger that people could sleep on them. The shower plugs, the shower plug holes are also frequently blocked with hair, which stops the water from draining away. So as you said that you are going to write about choked toilets, so you should know how to use some content related words to talk and describe the state of the problem. Okay, so that is what you should be doing. So you can see that here, talking about the toilets being dirty, I talked about an unpleasant smell or unpleasant look of the place, and also soggy paper towels, so several paper towels that have been soaked, with water on the floor, being horrible, and also posing danger to other people. So now I've been able to describe the state of the problem. My next task is to talk about the last time I complained. Okay, so the last time I complained, what did they do about it? So the last time I complained, what did they do about it? So that is the next thing I need to write about here. All right, so the last time you complained, what did they do about it? So that is what we are going to address now. Okay, so we write that I have reported this issue on 2 previous occasions. So you can see frequency, at least it shows the examiner the number of times you have complained. Okay, so the last time you complained can be several times, maybe it'll be 3 times within the month, or maybe 2 times. So you said I have complained or I've reported this issue on 2 previous occasions. The first time I was told, or I told a member of staff, and the second time I telephoned. So this tells you even the medium through which the complaint was done. Both the people I spoke to said they would make sure that the changing rooms were cleaned more often, but this is clearly not happening. So yes, they told me, they promised that this one will be done, but nothing was done about it. So now that I've written the second one, which is my having answering the question, then I need to move on to the last paragraph, which is to explain what that manager or the manager I'm writing to should do. And when we were practicing or when we were planning, we said that we expect the manager to give a rota or to provide a rota list for the staff and to check them every hour and sign them off, okay, to make sure that they have been able to accomplish that duty. So it is now the responsibility of the manager, also the staff. So this is what I am complaining and what I'm expecting the manager to do. And that is also an answer to the question that has been asked. So as a solution, I suggest that you set up an hourly rota where a member of staff has to check, okay, has to actually have to check. So all right, let me use the word must. Okay, so I suggest that you set up an hourly rota where a member of staff must check that the toilets are clean, sign to say that they have done so, and arrange for a cleaner to come if necessary. I have seen this system in operation in other places, and their toilets are always clean. So now that we've finished with everything, we can just go writing or signing off, and that will be all that we need to do. So we just sign off and say yours faithfully. Let me use yours sincerely because I knew the person. So yours sincerely, comma, and then I just write the name, John Boo. All right, so I just sign off, and that will be all. So this will be how you write your complaint. Remember, we said that when you are writing, you have to make sure that you have planned, and with the planning we stated that you have to make sure you have addressed the person, you greet the person, and after greeting the person, then you write the first sentence, which will be why you are writing or the purpose of your writing, and then after that you come to address each of the bullet points one after the other. Okay, so this is a complaint letter, and as you can see the format from how we have studied it, this is how it goes, just as simple.